Well, do I need to tell you what just happened? You see, I've been sitting here refreshing my laptop like it's Black Friday because Afriforum and March actually did it. They actually did it. A lot of people thought they wouldn't, but they actually did it. They actually met on Tuesday. They met. Kali Kriel and Jacinta Ngobese Zuma met for a great meeting. Same room, same table. These are two entities, Afriforum and March, with two completely different ideologies. And it wasn't even oh, we had coffee, and smiled for the cameras, seeing Jacinta's pretty face there over there talking. No, we just had a little coffee, we spoke about Twitter bots and everything. No, they walked out with an actual collaborative working group. They formed a team. Legal matters, community safety, education, skills development, crime, illegal immigration. Jacinta Ngobese Zuma went as far as saying she would like March to be seen as the Black people's Afriforum. Well, guess they're not so racist after all, are they? And I need you to understand just how wild this is. If you've been paying attention to South African social media for even 5 minutes over the past few years. You see, Afriforum has been painted constantly, relentlessly, by people who probably never read a single one of their court filings and know nothing about them as white supremacist Afrikaner lobby groups. That's the label. That's who Afriforum is, right? In the mainstream media. In the mainstream media, Afriforum are these white monopoly capital puppeteers, right? They're the puppets of Washington. And now here comes March, a movement that has a black supremacist core fan base that has been out there marching against immigration, sometimes in a messy manner, sometimes controversially, although they claim to march against illegal immigration. Maybe that was their goal and then things got a little out of hand and they caused xenophobia themselves, but that's a topic for another day. But their leader, Jacinta Ngobese Zuma, stands up and says, and I'm barely paraphrasing her, she says, I want us to become Afriforum for Black South Africans. And she said it proud. They build universities for themselves. They can prosecute cases. They solve things for themselves. That's the model we want. These are not my words. These are the words of the pretty woman in glasses you see on the screen, Jacinta Ngobese Zuma, who took a picture next to the CEO of Afriforum, Kali Kriel, who mentioned me on Twitter a few times. Love you, brother. He mentions me when he likes some of my videos, which I think is an actual honor, okay? Not everybody can walk in a room and say, hey, the CEO of Afriforum posts my videos on Twitter on a regular basis. Take that. No, not everyone can say that. So I'm gonna hold that like a badge on my chest, the same way this microphone is on me.
South Africa's anti-immigration movement, March says it plans to meet with Afriforum to learn from the organization's advocacy and fundraising strategies. March leader Jacinta Ngobese Zuma says that the meeting does not mean the two organizations agree on everything. She says the movement is interested in understanding how Afriforum has built institutions, raised funds, and used legal action to advance its causes. The planned meeting comes after March announced the creation of the SA First Forum, a legal advocacy body intended to assist South Africans who cannot afford to enforce their rights, as well as the March Foundation. Jacinta says she wants the movement to learn from organizations that have successfully built long-term structures while maintaining its own position on immigration. March has been campaigning for stricter visa controls, changes to asylum policies, and action against employers who hire undocumented migrants. The meeting is likely to attract attention given the very different constituencies and political positions associated with the two organizations.
Hi, everyone. Today, we've just had a very productive meeting with Afriforum. As you know, there's a lot of issues that they tackle that have to do with dealing with community issues. They've got litigation, prosecution. They're able to help people in different areas. And that is ideally the type of movement that we want to be. And we want to be able to take pride in who we are and get things done and do them correctly without compromising our people and making sure that we spend their money correctly where they need us to spend it correctly and, deliver what government has failed to do. So for us, it's very exciting because we've found a lot of areas of collaboration. We've found areas where obviously we can't agree on everything, but what we agree on is way more than things that we might not even agree on, which we don't even know what those issues are yet. But we're here to learn from each other. We're here to teach each other. We're here to also make sure that the people of South Africa are able to come together across different racial lines and across different traditions and find each other, you know, after all the years of being separated by race and skin color, and find ways of making the country work, because that's what we all want. We want roads, we want schools, we want water, we want buildings, we want a country that is lawful and where everyone can live in peace and in safety. And that's what we're here for, ideally. And we're hoping that today's session is the beginning of a lot of things that are going to be going right for South Africans, and they don't need political parties to do that.
A grassroots black-led movement that is standing on a stage, cameras rolling, and basically saying the group everyone told us to hate is actually the group that figured it out and figured out how to do things for themselves and figured out how to win. And Kali Kriel, to his credit, didn't even gloat about it. He didn't do a victory lap. You know, he just said engagement between South Africans matters, which was quite humble of him, by the way. He said Afriforum has a long history of building relationships to create a better future, and showed up. I mean, Afriforum had every reason to say no, because these people have spent so many years, especially some March and March supporters, they've spent so many years calling Afriforum these white lobbyists. So Afriforum could have said, no, you call us white lobbyists all this time, and then when you actually realized we are not the bad guys, now you want to be on our side? No, we don't want your meeting. No, you stay with your people. Stay with your Operation Dudula. They didn't say that. In fact, they welcomed March and March with open arms, because Afriforum welcomes anyone with open arms. Just like a YouTuber going to Orania and seeing the place for themselves and realizing, hey, maybe these people are not so bad after all. And I should take a break when it comes to listening to what the media has to tell me 24/7.